Seniors, 8 worst fruits. Destroying. Stop eating these now. Shihengyi, the insidious truth about why your legs feel weaker, why climbing stairs has become an increasingly daunting struggle, why your once reliable balance now feels like a precarious tightrope walk, and why a nagging uncertainty pervades your every step, especially if you are over the age of 50, is about to be unveiled, and it will fundamentally transform your perspective on the seemingly innocent fruits currently residing in your kitchen fruit bowl. For too long, a pervasive misconception has held sway that all fruit is inherently healthy, a belief often peddled without caveat. However, a profound and disturbing reality exists. There are 8 specific fruits that are, with alarming precision, systematically stripping your muscles of their vital strength, igniting a silent yet relentless inferno of inflammation that is literally consuming your leg power, and subtly yet surely setting the stage for debilitating falls that possess the terrifying potential to irrevocably alter the course of your life forever. Prepare yourself for a revelation, because the final fruit on this meticulously compiled list is not an exotic rarity. It is almost certainly nestled within the cool confines of your refrigerator right now, and it stands as the singular most perilous offender of them all. This is the hidden truth, a reality that virtually no one in positions of influence or trust, not the medical establishment with its often generalized dietary advice, not the gargantuan food industry eager to brand everything as natural and healthy, not even your most well-meaning family members operating under outdated paradigms, dares to communicate to you concerning the physiological realities of aging. They have, consciously or unconsciously, propagated the myth that all fruit is good fruit, that the sugars inherent in nature cannot possibly inflict harm, that if it blossoms and ripens on a tree, it must, by definition, be a harbinger of health. Yet, your own legs, those crucial pillars of your independence and mobility, are unequivocally narrating a starkly contrasting saga, are they not? Each morning, as you gingerly arise, there is that undeniable stiffness, that fleeting but unsettling moment of hesitation and uncertainty as you attempt to stand from a seated position, that dull ache or grinding sensation that emanates from your knees with every downward step you take on a flight of stairs. You have likely, and quite understandably, attributed these disheartening symptoms to the inevitable march of age, to the onset of arthritis, or simply to the perceived inevitability of just getting older. But what if an entirely different narrative were presented to you? What if it were revealed that some of the very foods you conscientiously consume day after painstaking day, foods that have been relentlessly championed as wholesome and beneficial, are in actual fact catastrophically accelerating the degenerative breakdown of your precious muscle tissue and actively cultivating the precise biochemical conditions that culminate in profound weakness, recurrent falls, and the heartbreaking erosion of your personal independence? The unvarnished truth is that specific varieties of fruit trigger a relentless cascade of inflammatory responses throughout your body, responses that are singularly targeted at the musculature of your legs. These fruits induce dramatic and precipitous spikes in your blood sugar levels in ways that inflict severe and irreparable damage upon the delicate, intricate protein structures that constitute your muscles and are absolutely essential for their sustained strength and integrity. Furthermore, they generate an insidious phenomenon known as oxidative stress, which literally dismantles and corrodes the microscopic cellular machinery indispensable for effective muscle contraction and overall function. And perhaps the most grim and disheartening facet of this entire process is that the older you become, the exponentially more susceptible and sensitive your body becomes to these pervasive and destructive effects. Years of dedicated research into the intricate nexus between nuanced nutrition and the maintenance of robust muscle health in older adults have led to discoveries that are, quite frankly, nothing short of shocking. The very fruits that are routinely extolled by general practitioners and nutritional guides, the ones that repose so innocently within the confines of your fruit bowl, might tragically be the fundamental underlying reason you find yourself progressively losing strength, jeopardizing your balance and experiencing an erosion of confidence with each passing, seemingly unremarkable month. This is the perilous sugar trap. Let us confront the undeniable elephant in the room: blood sugar. When you consume certain fruits, the glucose levels within your bloodstream surge with a rapidity and magnitude far exceeding what most individuals realize or comprehend. The prevalent misconception is that because it is natural sugar, it is inherently benign and therefore harmless. However, your muscles, those tireless engines of your mobility, remain utterly indifferent to the origin of the sugar. What they vehemently react to, with devastating consequences, is the sheer volume and speed with which that sugar inundates your bloodstream. Chronically elevated blood sugar is profoundly toxic to muscle tissue. It initiates and perpetuates a biochemical reaction that forms malevolent compounds termed advanced glycation end products, mercifully abbreviated as AGEs. These AGEs quite literally accelerate the aging process of your muscles at an astonishing and detrimental rate. Envision it as rust meticulously forming on a vital piece of metal machinery. But in this harrowing scenario, it is occurring within the very protein components of your leg muscles. Each instance you illicitly spike your blood sugar with the consumption of these detrimental fruits, you are actively facilitating the genesis of more of this muscle-destroying rust. But here lies the truly insidious aspect of this metabolic dilemma. As we navigate the corridors of aging, our muscles inevitably become less efficient and less adept at utilizing glucose as a primary source of energy. Consequently, not only are these sudden and dramatic sugar spikes inherently more damaging to your aging physiology, but your legs are simultaneously failing to extract any meaningful energetic benefit they once might have. It is akin to dousing a burgeoning fire with copious amounts of gasoline while concurrently diminishing the fire's inherent capacity to produce vital heat. You incur the totality of the damage without realizing any discernible benefit whatsoever. The fruits I am about to expose are unequivocally the primary culprits, the worst offenders, when it pertains to inducing these dangerous blood sugar spikes. They assault your delicate physiological system with the force of a veritable sledgehammer, initiating and propagating inflammation that is specifically and malevolently targeted at the very muscles you most critically depend upon for unencumbered mobility, unwavering balance, and the preservation of your cherished independence. And if your dietary habits involve consuming these particular fruits with any degree of regularity, perhaps even on a daily basis, as is regrettably common among many seniors, you are, in essence, systematically programming your own legs for a predetermined and progressive decline into weakness. Next, we confront the inflammation storm. Now let us delve into the realm of inflammation, but not the readily apparent acute variety that manifests as red, swollen, and painfully tender joints. Instead, we must address the far more insidious, silent, chronic, and systemic inflammation that is, as we speak, relentlessly eroding your vital muscle tissue from within. Certain fruits, despite their long-standing and widely accepted reputation for promoting health, are paradoxically revealed to be pro-inflammatory agents for the aging adult body. They harbor complex compounds that trigger your immune system to launch a misguided, self-destructive assault upon your own healthy muscle tissue. This is not some speculative fringe theory or an unsubstantiated hypothesis. This is unequivocally documented science, meticulously researched and rigorously peer-reviewed, yet most medical professionals either remain tragically unaware of its implications, or, perhaps more troublingly, are reluctant to discuss it candidly because it directly contradicts the deeply ingrained conventional wisdom that portrays all fruit as universally benevolent. However, your body, in its intricate biochemical wisdom, remains entirely unconcerned with conventional wisdom or popular belief. It responds solely to the immutable laws of biochemistry. When you ingest these inflammatory fruits, your body responds by releasing a torrent of cytokines, potent chemical messengers that erroneously signal to your immune system the presence of a grave threat. But herein lies the critical and perilous problem. As we advance in years, our immune system, like many other bodily functions, can become disoriented and confused. It begins to misidentify healthy muscle tissue as an invading pathogen, consequently launching an attack in the mistaken belief that it is safeguarding your well-being. This devastating process is scientifically known as sarcopenia, and it is directly responsible for the crippling and often irreversible muscle loss that afflicts millions of seniors globally, profoundly impacting their quality of life. The fruits enumerated on my list are particularly dangerous precisely because they contain exceptionally high concentrations of compounds that specifically initiate and exacerbate this misguided inflammatory response. Some varieties are heavily laden with pesticide residues, which accumulate insidiously within muscle tissue over extended periods. Others possess natural compounds that, while largely innocuous for younger, more resilient individuals, transform into potent toxins for aging, more vulnerable muscles. And regrettably, some fruits have been subjected to such extensive processing and genetic modification from their original natural forms that your body's immune system perceives them as outright foreign invaders, triggering a defensive, inflammatory reaction. Each occasion you consume these particular fruits, you are, in essence, dispatching your immune system into an internal conflict, a battle waged against your own legs. And in this cruel and relentless internal war, your muscles are perpetually destined to be the unfortunate and tragic casualties. This leads us to the grim reality of protein destruction. Here is a truth that is guaranteed to send a chilling sensation down your spine, a realization that underscores the profound gravity of this dietary issue. The most detrimental fruits on my comprehensive list do not merely impede your muscles from gaining strength or prevent their ongoing maintenance. They actively dismantle and break down the existing, meticulously constructed protein structures that are the very essence of your leg muscles. It is akin to wielding a colossal sledgehammer against the foundational integrity of a house, while simultaneously attempting, in futility, to erect a second story. Your leg muscles, these remarkable feats of biological engineering, are fundamentally composed of protein, complex, intricately woven protein structures that have required decades of careful cellular construction and vigilant maintenance to establish and sustain. However, certain fruits are replete with specific enzymes and nefarious compounds that directly interfere with the delicate process of protein synthesis and, even more alarmingly, precipitously accelerate protein breakdown. For an aging individual, a senior whose body's inherent capacity to efficiently rebuild and repair protein is already significantly diminished with advancing age, this phenomenon is nothing short of catastrophic. Consider it through this evocative analogy. Imagine your leg muscles as a magnificent, complex, architectural edifice. Every single day, this structure experiences natural wear and tear. A few bricks might dislodge, certain walls might gradually erode. When you are young, your body operates with a fully staffed, round-the-clock construction crew, tirelessly engaged in repairing and rebuilding any damage. But as you progress through the seasons of life and age, that once robust construction crew inevitably dwindles in size and significantly decelerates its pace. Now, if you are concurrently consuming foods that are, metaphorically speaking, sending a destructive wrecking ball crashing through your architectural masterpiece every single day, what conceivable outcome do you anticipate? The fruits that are about to be laid bare contain insidious compounds that chemically bind to the proteins within your muscles, rendering them unstable and structurally compromised. They obstruct the intricate cellular machinery responsible for repairing muscle damage. Some even go so far as to block the essential absorption of amino acids, the fundamental building blocks that your muscles desperately require to sustain their strength and maintain their structural integrity. This pervasive internal sabotage is the underlying explanation for why you may increasingly observe that your legs feel progressively weaker, even when you are conscientiously striving to remain physically active, even when you are under the firm conviction that you are adhering to a truly healthy diet. You are, tragically and unknowingly, consuming foods that are actively working in direct opposition to every single diligent effort you make to preserve your strength and uphold your invaluable independence. Now let us unveil the deadly 8. Allow me to disclose the 8 specific fruits that are systematically and relentlessly undermining and destroying your crucial leg strength. These are not obscure, exotic fruits that you have never encountered before. On the contrary, these are remarkably common fruits, staples in many households, that are very likely present in your kitchen right now. They are fruits that have been universally and often erroneously lauded as healthy. Fruits that you might be consuming with unwavering regularity, perhaps even daily, entirely oblivious to the profound and irreversible damage they are silently inflicting upon your body. Fruit number 1, grapes. I recognize that this revelation will undoubtedly come as a profound shock, but grapes, those seemingly innocuous, bite-sized delights, rank as one of the absolute worst fruits for maintaining senior leg strength. The reasons are multifold and deeply concerning. Firstly, grapes possess one of the highest concentrations of natural sugars of any fruit, and these sugars are assimilated into your bloodstream with a velocity that surpasses almost any other foodstuff you could possibly consume, triggering precipitous and damaging blood sugar spikes. But this rapid sugar influx, perilous as it is not even the most egregious aspect of their harmfulness. Grapes are, alarmingly, among the most heavily treated crops with a litany of pesticides, and these noxious chemicals accumulate insidiously within your muscle tissue over extended periods. Scientific studies have compellingly demonstrated that pesticide residues specifically target the mitochondria within muscle cells, the very powerhouses responsible for generating the essential energy required for robust muscle contraction. When these vital mitochondria are damaged or compromised, your muscles are literally incapacitated, unable to generate the necessary power to adequately support your body weight and facilitate movement. However, what makes grapes truly insidious is their inherent nature. They are small, delightfully sweet, and dangerously easy to overeat. Most individuals do not merely consume a solitary grape or two, they indulge in generous handfuls, frequently devouring entire cups of grapes in a single sitting. While each individual grape might appear harmless in isolation, when you are consuming 20, 30, or even 40 grapes at once, you are deliberately creating a massive and unsustainable sugar and toxin load that your aging muscles are simply ill-equipped to process or withstand. And if you are, with good intentions, consuming raisins under the misguided belief that they are a healthier alternative because they are dried, you are, in fact, exacerbating the problem exponentially. The dehydration process intrinsically concentrates all the detrimental sugars and pervasive pesticides, while simultaneously removing the water content that would typically serve to dilute their harmful effects. It is akin to taking every negative attribute of grapes and amplifying its potency tenfold, creating a compact yet formidable muscle-destroying agent. Fruit number 2, bananas. This particular revelation is likely to sting, as bananas are arguably the most ubiquitous and cherished fruit among seniors. They are undeniably convenient, possess a soft and easily digestible texture, and project an undeniable aura of healthfulness. However, bananas are, against popular belief, a potent destroyer of leg strength. And here is the compelling explanation. First, bananas are extraordinarily rich in simple sugars, which cause your blood glucose levels to spike with greater rapidity and intensity than even some confectionery bars. But this sugar surge, while problematic, is not the most profound issue. The true peril lies in potassium overload. While everyone rightfully extols the virtues of bananas for their high potassium content, virtually no one addresses the critical implications of consuming excessive potassium, particularly as one ages. Your kidneys, those vital filtration organs, become progressively less efficient at processing and excreting potassium as you grow older. Regular and excessive consumption of bananas can precipitate a dangerous physiological condition known as hyperkalemia, an abnormally high concentration of potassium in your blood. This directly and profoundly interferes with the delicate mechanisms of muscle contraction. Your leg muscles are quite literally prevented from firing properly and effectively when your potassium levels exceed optimal ranges. It is analogous to attempting to ignite a car engine that has been flooded with fuel. But the truly chilling aspect concerning bananas relates to their cultivation and ripening. They are frequently picked prematurely while still green and subsequently artificially ripened using ethylene gas. This industrial process generates specific chemical compounds that regrettably interfere with the intricate pathways of protein synthesis within muscle tissue. Therefore, each time you consume a commercially acquired store-bought banana, you are inadvertently ingesting chemicals that actively hinder your muscles' inherent capacity to rebuild and repair themselves. Furthermore, if you are consuming bananas adorned with brown spots, believing they are sweeter and more natural, those very brown spots are an indicator that the sugars within have already begun to break down into forms that are even more profoundly inflammatory and damaging to your precious muscle tissue. Fruit number 3, pineapple. Pineapple, with its vibrant yellow hue and tropical allure, seems to embody health and vitality, brimming with an array of vitamins. However, this seemingly beneficial fruit harbors an enzyme known as bromelain, which, while offering certain therapeutic benefits in minuscule quantities, becomes a distinct hazard when consumed regularly by seniors. Bromelain's primary function is to break down proteins, a characteristic that is precisely why pineapple is frequently employed as a natural meat tenderizer in culinary applications. But when you habitually incorporate pineapple into your diet, this proteolytic enzyme does not confine its activity solely to your digestive system. It is absorbed into your bloodstream, where it commences its detrimental task of systematically dismantling the proteins within your actual muscle tissue. For younger individuals with their robust metabolic processes and efficient protein synthesis, this might not pose an immediate or significant problem, as their bodies can typically rebuild protein faster than it is being broken down. However, for seniors whose protein synthesis pathways are already significantly attenuated with age, consistent pineapple consumption can decisively tip the delicate physiological balance towards accelerated muscle breakdown rather than restorative muscle building. But the dangers do not end there. Pineapple is also exceptionally rich in fructose, a type of sugar that is metabolized distinctly differently from other saccharides. Fructose is primarily shunted directly to your liver, where it is largely converted into fat. A substantial portion of this newly synthesized fat regrettably ends up as insidious deposits within your muscle tissue, actively interfering with optimal muscle function and contributing directly to the pervasive weakness and chronic inflammation that are systematically destroying your leg strength. And if your preference leans towards drinking pineapple juice, under the mistaken belief that you are extracting the benefits without the concomitant fiber, you are in effect creating an even more concentrated and potent dose of these muscle-destroying compounds, while simultaneously foregoing the crucial dietary fiber that would otherwise serve to mitigate and slow their absorption. Fruit number 4, oranges. This particular entry is guaranteed to ignite considerable debate and controversy, given oranges' long-standing and almost sacrosanct reputation for health. They are celebrated for their abundant vitamin C content, their natural provenance, and have been enthusiastically endorsed by medical professionals for countless decades. However, oranges are insidiously undermining your leg strength in ways that have remained largely unaddressed and unacknowledged. Firstly, oranges are notably acidic. This inherent acidity does not merely impact your digestive tract, it profoundly affects your entire body's delicate pH balance. When your physiological environment becomes unduly acidic, your body, in its homeostatic efforts, begins to leach essential minerals from your bones and, crucially, from your muscles, in a desperate attempt to neutralize the encroaching acidity. This biochemical process literally weakens your leg muscles at the fundamental cellular level. But the truly alarming aspect concerning oranges is their conventional treatment. They are frequently coated with layers of wax and potent fungicides intended to prolong their shelf life and enhance their visual appeal. These chemical agents are not superficial. They permeate the fruit's flesh and accumulate within your body over time. Scientific investigations have clearly demonstrated that these fungicides specifically target the intricate nervous system pathways that govern and control muscle contraction. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever noticed a sticky residue on your hands after peeling an orange? That sensation is not merely attributed to the fruit's natural oils. It is the tenacious chemical coating meticulously designed to preserve the orange, which you are absorbing directly through your skin and inevitably consuming with every bite. And orange juice? Let's not even begin to unravel that deceptive concoction. Orange juice is, in essence, liquid sugar, barely mitigated by a meager dose of vitamin C. It provokes blood sugar spikes with greater ferocity than many sodas, instigates pervasive inflammation, and delivers a concentrated payload of all the chemicals deployed to process and preserve the oranges. If you are habitually consuming orange juice, you are regrettably essentially mainlining potent leg muscle destroyers directly into your system. Fruit number 5, apples. The old adage, "An apple a day keeps the doctor away," regrettably holds little veracity when it pertains to the preservation of your crucial leg strength in later life. Apples, in fact, might represent one of the most insidious fruits on this list, precisely because they project an aura of such profound innocence, evoking images of wholesome Americana and undeniable health. Yet apples are among the most heavily treated fruits with pesticides, frequently surpassing almost any other fruit in their chemical burden. The Environmental Working Group, EWG, consistently identifies apples as a prominent member of their Dirty Dozen list, indicating fruits with the highest concentrations of pesticide residues. These ubiquitous pesticides are not simply washed away with water. They are absorbed deeply into the apple's flesh, and upon consumption, they journey directly into your bloodstream. These particular pesticides are known to specifically target the neuromuscular junctions, the critical points where your nerves establish communication with your muscles. When these vital connections are compromised and damaged by chronic pesticide exposure, your brain becomes literally incapable of effectively communicating with your leg muscles. You might possess intrinsically strong muscles, but they are rendered functionally impaired because they cannot receive the precise and timely signals necessary for proper contraction and coordinated movement. But the pesticide issue is not the sole detractor. The most alarming truth about apples is that they are routinely stored for protracted periods, often months, before finally reaching your grocery store shelves. During this extended storage period, they are subjected to a battery of chemicals specifically designed to inhibit natural ripening and prevent decay. These chemicals, in turn, generate harmful compounds that interfere with vital cellular energy production within muscle tissue, further sapping their strength. And if you conscientiously consume the skin, believing you are maximizing your fiber and nutrient intake, you are, tragically, ingesting a concentrated dose of all these deleterious chemicals. The apple skin is, unfortunately, where the overwhelming majority of pesticides and storage chemicals accumulate. Fruit number 6, strawberries. Strawberries, with their captivating ruby hue, exquisite sweetness, and purported abundance of antioxidants, appear to be the epitome of the perfect fruit. However, strawberries are subtly and destructively undermining your leg strength in ways that will undoubtedly leave you stunned. Firstly, strawberries are, without equivocation, treated with more pesticides than almost any other fruit. But unlike other fruits that possess a protective peel, you consume strawberries whole, skin, seeds, and all. This means you are ingesting every single chemical that was sprayed upon them during their arduous journey of growth, harvesting, and subsequent storage. But the true danger lurking within strawberries extends beyond pesticides. They are frequently contaminated with a pervasive fungus that produces potent mycotoxins. These insidious toxic compounds specifically target and damage muscle tissue. Even in minute quantities, mycotoxins can induce pronounced muscle weakness, debilitating fatigue, and severe coordination problems. And because these toxins accumulate insidiously within your body over time, the detrimental effects intensify and worsen with consistent and regular consumption. Strawberries are also extraordinarily rich in natural sugars, which trigger a rapid and damaging spike in your blood glucose. However, unlike certain other fruits, strawberries contain unique compounds that actively interfere with insulin sensitivity. This implies that not only do they cause a precipitous rise in your blood sugar, but they simultaneously render your body less capable of effectively regulating future blood sugar levels. And if you are habitually purchasing those unnaturally giant, perfectly sculpted, blemish-free strawberries from the grocery store, be aware that these are often genetically modified and subjected to treatment with growth hormones that can severely disrupt your body's delicate natural hormone balance. This insidious hormonal disruption specifically impairs crucial muscle growth and maintenance processes in older adults who are already struggling with diminishing hormonal support. Fruit number 7, cherries. Cherries, both sweet and tart varieties, have over recent years assiduously cultivated a reputation as a health food, particularly championed for seniors. They are often heralded as potent anti-inflammatory agents, beneficial for joint health, and praised for their purported natural purity. Yet, cherries are one of the most deceptively dangerous fruits when it comes to preserving leg strength. Sweet cherries are extraordinarily high in fructose, often containing even more than many commercially produced candies. This overwhelming fructose overload upon regular consumption frequently engenders a condition known as fructose malabsorption in many older adults. When your body is unable to properly absorb fructose, it tragically ferments within your gut, producing a barrage of toxic compounds that infiltrate your bloodstream and, with specific malevolence, target your muscle tissue, causing widespread damage. But tart cherries, often marketed for their anti-inflammatory properties, might present an even graver threat. They contain significantly elevated levels of oxalates. These oxalates possess the unwelcome ability to bind with essential minerals within your body, leading to the formation of crystalline deposits directly within your muscles. Over time, these mineralized deposits obstruct and interfere with optimal muscle contraction, ultimately manifesting as the weakness and persistent stiffness that you might mistakenly attribute to the normal, unavoidable processes of aging. Furthermore, cherries are commonly treated with sulfur dioxide to artificially preserve their vibrant color and unwarrantedly extend their shelf life. This particular chemical is profoundly detrimental to older adults because it actively depletes your body's intrinsic antioxidant systems. Without the robust protection afforded by these vital antioxidants, your muscle tissue becomes extraordinarily vulnerable to damage from every other toxin and environmental stressor you inevitably encounter. And if you are consuming cherry juice for its highly touted yet often exaggerated health benefits, you are, in essence, receiving an intensified, concentrated dose of all these pernicious compounds, while tragically bypassing the critical dietary fiber that would otherwise serve to decelerate their absorption and significantly reduce their overall detrimental impact. Fruit number 8, cantaloupe, the most dangerous. And now, the climactic revelation, the fruit that, with an almost unnerving certainty, is currently nestled within your refrigerator, the one that poses a more profound and immediate danger to your leg strength than all the other 7 fruits combined. This fruit is so pervasively consumed by seniors, so relentlessly promoted as undeniably healthy, and so deeply interwoven into the typical senior diet that unveiling its profound dangers feels almost like a criminal act of betrayal. That fruit is, astonishingly, cantaloupe. I fully anticipate your bewildered reaction. Cantaloupe? That sweet, succulently soft, effortlessly chewable cantaloupe. How could such an innocuous fruit possibly harbor such peril? But cantaloupe, in its deceptive simplicity, embodies the perfect storm, a confluence of every detrimental factor that systematically annihilates leg strength in older adults. Firstly, cantaloupe possesses one of the highest glycemic indexes of any fruit, causing your blood sugar to spike faster and to more extreme levels than even a slice of white bread, a food universally acknowledged for its rapid glucose release. But this rapid glycemic response is merely the initial layer of its danger. Cantaloupe boasts an incredibly high water content, which means all those potent sugars are unleashed into your bloodstream with virtually no dietary fiber to impede their rapid absorption. It is, disturbingly, akin to directly injecting liquid sugar into your veins. However, what truly renders cantaloupe profoundly perilous is its almost inevitable contamination with harmful bacteria. The rough, reticulated, net-like skin of a cantaloupe provides an ideal breeding ground and protective habitat for nefarious bacteria such as Listeria and Salmonella. These dangerous pathogens do not solely trigger acute food poisoning, though that risk is certainly present and severe. They establish chronic, low-grade infections within your body that specifically target and inflame muscle tissue. Your immune system, in its valiant attempt to combat these persistent infections, generates an inflammatory response. But in older adults, this inflammation, tragically, does not merely fight the bacteria. It simultaneously launches a misguided assault on your healthy muscle tissue. Every single time you consume contaminated cantaloupe, you are, in essence, triggering a devastating autoimmune response directed squarely against your own leg muscles. And here lies the most insidious and heartbreaking aspect of this fruit. Cantaloupe is frequently and enthusiastically recommended by doctors and nutritionists for seniors, precisely because it is soft, easy to chew, and appears hydrating. Nursing homes routinely serve it, home health aides consistently recommend it, and well-meaning family members often bring it to their elderly relatives, firmly believing they are providing wholesome and beneficial nutrition. But cantaloupe is also extraordinarily high in potassium, surpassing even bananas in its concentration. For seniors whose kidney function is already compromised or attenuated, this overwhelming potassium overload can induce dangerous electrolyte imbalances that directly and severely interfere with optimal muscle function. Your leg muscles are quite literally rendered incapable of contracting properly when your delicate electrolyte balance is disrupted. And if your shopping habits involve purchasing pre-cut cantaloupe from the grocery store, you are tragically multiplying all these inherent risks exponentially. Pre-cut cantaloupe often languishes in plastic containers for days or even weeks, providing an opportune environment for bacteria to multiply unchecked and for harmful compounds to concentrate to dangerous levels. It is, in essence, consuming a ticking time bomb for your vital leg strength. This leads us to the hidden damage. What transpires within the intricate biomechanics of your body when you consume these specific fruits is far more devastating and pervasive than you may currently comprehend. It is not merely about the immediate, transient effects that dissipate quickly. It is about the relentless, cumulative damage that silently yet inexorably accumulates over countless months and years, subtly eroding your leg strength until a fateful day arrives when you abruptly realize that you are no longer capable of performing the once simple tasks you effortlessly executed. Each time you ingest these detrimental fruits, you are actively creating microscopic damage within your delicate muscle fibers. Your body valiantly attempts to repair this pervasive damage, but as you age, your inherent repair mechanisms become progressively less efficient and less effective. Consequently, the damage accumulates at a faster rate than it can possibly be ameliorated. It, is analogous to discovering a slow, imperceptible leak in your car tire. Initially, you might not detect it, but eventually, inevitably, you will find yourself stranded helplessly on the side of the road. The chronic inflammation instigated by these fruits does not solely impact your muscle tissue. It extends its destructive reach to the vital connective tissue that meticulously holds your muscles together, your tendons, ligaments, and fascia. All the intricate components of your musculoskeletal system become increasingly weaker, more brittle, and significantly more prone to debilitating injury. This is the profound explanation for why seniors who habitually consume these fruits exhibit a markedly higher propensity to suffer falls, muscle tears, and other serious injuries that possess the power to irrevocably alter their quality of life. But perhaps the most tragic aspect of all is that the widespread damage inflicted by these fruits remains largely invisible, a silent assailant, until it is often too late to prevent significant decline. You might experience a subtle increase in morning stiffness, a slight diminishment of steadiness on your feet, or a touch more fatigue after engaging in physical activity. However, you, along with countless others, attribute these insidious changes to the normal, unavoidable processes of aging, never once realizing that your dietary choices are, in fact, drastically accelerating the very degenerative processes you are desperately striving to circumvent. The dramatic blood sugar spikes triggered by these fruits do not confine their deleterious effects to your muscles. They also inflict severe damage upon the delicate blood vessels that are responsible for supplying your muscles with life-giving oxygen and essential nutrients. Over time, this progressive vascular damage inevitably reduces critical blood flow to your leg muscles, effectively starving them of the vital sustenance they require to remain robust and healthy. And the widespread hormonal disruption instigated by these fruits affects far more than just your muscles. It profoundly interferes with your sleep architecture, negatively impacts your mood stability, saps your energy levels, and diminishes your overall sense of well-being. You might mistakenly conclude that you are just getting older, but you are in fact experiencing the cumulative, insidious effects of dietary choices that are actively working against your body's intrinsic healing and maintenance systems. It is time for breaking free. So, what tangible actions can you undertake? How can you decisively emancipate yourself from the relentless cycle of muscle destruction that these deceptively healthy fruits have been orchestrating within your body? The unequivocal first step is to completely and permanently eliminate these 8 specific fruits from your diet. I fully acknowledge that such a stringent recommendation might sound extreme and uncompromising, but when a substance is actively and demonstrably harming you, moderation is not merely an inadequate response. It is a dangerous fallacy. Complete elimination is the only truly effective solution. Your body possesses an astonishing and inherent capacity for profound healing and remarkable rebuilding, even at an advanced age. However, you must cease placing insurmountable obstacles in its regenerative path. Every single day that you persist in consuming these muscle-destroying fruits is another day that your vital leg strength continues its inexorable and lamentable decline. Therefore, it is imperative to replace these overtly harmful fruits with truly muscle-supportive and nourishing foods. Embrace the abundance of dark leafy greens, which provide easily absorbed minerals essential for muscle function. Opt for clean, organic berries, which offer a wealth of beneficial antioxidants without the detrimental sugar overload. Incorporate avocados, which deliver healthy monounsaturated fats that your muscles critically require for cellular repair and structural integrity. These truly beneficial foods do not merely avoid causing harm, they actively and powerfully support optimal muscle health and bolster your strength. But mere elimination, while crucial, is insufficient. You must also proactively engage in repairing the extensive damage that has already been inflicted. This necessitates actively supporting your body's natural detoxification systems to effectively flush out the accumulated toxins that have amassed from years of unknowingly consuming these fruits. It further demands providing your muscles with the precise and targeted nutrients they urgently require to meticulously rebuild damaged proteins and holistically restore cellular function. Most importantly, you must grasp the profound understanding that this transformative endeavor is not about reluctantly sacrificing foods you once enjoyed. It is about triumphantly reclaiming your strength, resurrecting your independence, and securing your future. Each and every fruit you consciously choose to omit from this perilous list represents a decisive step towards cultivating stronger legs, achieving superior balance, and fostering greater confidence in your every daily activity. The choice, unequivocally, is yours. You can elect to continue consuming these fruits, thereby accepting the inevitable and gradual decline in leg strength, and resigning yourself to the misguided notion that weakness and frailty are inexorable, unavoidable components of the aging process. Or you can make a resolute and empowering decision right now, at this very moment, to completely excise these muscle destroyers from your life and embark upon the profound journey of rebuilding the strength you once tragically believed was lost forever. This is the final truth. Here is the unvarnished truth that virtually no one is willing to impart to you. The truth that the colossal food industry ardently hopes you will never, ever uncover. It is the truth that possesses the singular power to fundamentally revolutionize every single aspect of how you perceive and experience the aging process. Your leg strength is not diminishing simply because you are growing older. It is declining because you are being subjected to a slow, insidious poisoning by foods that have been relentlessly and erroneously presented to you as healthy. Every solitary morning when you struggle to extricate yourself from your bed, every instance you hesitate with trepidation before ascending or descending a flight of stairs, every moment of unsettling uncertainty concerning your balance and overall stability, these are emphatically not the unavoidable preordained consequences of advancing age. They are the direct quantifiable results of dietary choices that are systematically dismantling and destroying your muscles from the inside out, atom by atom. The 8 fruits I have unveiled to you today are merely the genesis of this alarming dietary revelation. There exists a multitude of dozens, perhaps even scores, of other seemingly healthy foods that are silently yet powerfully sabotaging your strength, draining your energy reserves, and undermining your vital independence. However, these 8 fruits stand as the principal offenders, the primary culprits that are inflicting the most immediate, pervasive, and devastating damage upon your crucial leg muscles. You are now confronted with a momentous choice, one that demands immediate consideration. You can opt to dismiss the critical information I have imparted, stubbornly persist in consuming these deleterious fruits, and passively accept the gradual, disheartening loss of strength and mobility that inevitably accompanies such inaction. Or you can seize the moment and take decisive action immediately, eliminate these insidious muscle destroyers from your dietary regimen, and commence experiencing the renewed strength and vibrant vitality that is still profoundly possible for you to attain, irrespective of your age. Your legs are the foundational pillars of your independence. They are the intricate mechanisms that grant you the freedom to traverse the world as you desire, to engage in the activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, and to live the life you have painstakingly crafted and wish to continue living. Do not, under any circumstances, permit 8 deceptively simple fruits to pilfer that invaluable freedom from you. Do not allow the pervasive deceptions and blatant misinformation propagated by the food industry to exact the ultimate cost of your future well-being and autonomy. The profound power to fundamentally alter your life's trajectory rests firmly within your hands at this very instant. The pertinent question is, what transformative action will you undertake with this newly acquired knowledge? Your legs are patiently awaiting your definitive answer. Your future self is anticipating your crucial decision, and the sands of time are relentlessly running out. Make the choice that your future, more robust self will undoubtedly thank you for. Make the choice that could signify the monumental difference between cherished independence and lamentable dependence, between indomitable strength and debilitating frailty, between living a life of vibrant fullness and merely existing in survival mode. Your leg strength, your unwavering balance, your innate confidence, your entire future, it all hinges on the profound decision you make right now about what you consciously choose to introduce into your body. Choose with utmost wisdom. Choose strength. Choose to fight back with unwavering resolve against the insidious forces that seek to perpetuate your weakness and erode your vitality, because you unequivocally deserve to be strong. You deserve to be fiercely independent. You deserve to navigate life without the omnipresent fear of falling, without the gnawing worry about your next uncertain step, without the gradual, disheartening surrender of everything you have diligently labored your entire life to build and cherish. The truth, in its unvarnished clarity, has been laid bare. The monumental choice, my dear senior, is entirely and irrevocably yours.